was weird. I was getting an echo of something. Hello, everybody. Hello. And good morning with ZNB Live. Unfiltered. Does that give you like little tingles and jingles in your soul when I say that?
No, it makes me very uncomfortable,
Yes.
actually.
Well, good. Then mission accomplished. Welcome.
We're trying to retain listener and viewership, not drive them away, as they are probably driving in their cars to work and they just hear Unfiltered every Wednesday.
You make it
at
sound like
11
I'm the
a.m.
crypt keeper or something out there, man. Like, come on. It's got more of a nice, pleasant, bassy tone in their ear.
Is that what
in
your
their
wife
ear hole.
thinks? Is that what she thinks?
Well, listen. We're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave that one alone. But welcome in, everybody. Welcome into ZNB Live Unfiltered, coming at you live on YouTube every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you guys all for joining us here on the YouTubes. Don't forget though, if you are out there watching us live at 11 a.m., do the things, do all the YouTubey things, like the thing. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That would be absolutely incredible. Leave a comment here in the chat. Let us know you're here watching. But above all else, share. You guys got fingers. You guys got social media platforms. Use your fingers to click and copy those links and post them and paste them out to your social media platforms. Help the channel grow. Help us grow. The more we grow, the more stuff we can bring for you. So please do all the things. Oh, and by the way, we're also on, podcast platforms as well, like Spotify and Apple Podcast and so on. So you guys can do all of those same things over on those platforms as well. But the fun part of all of this is actually being here live with us every Wednesday at 11 a.m., even though the show is posted and available after that date on the YouTube channel. You could still do all those things. And that would be amazing. That would make Brian sleep better at night. Just saying. The dude needs better sleep, and I think that would help him sleep better at night. I'm glad to see you're back in the hat. We've been missing the hat.
Yeah, it's been on the piplet behind me for a little bit. So now there's a different hat replacing that, and now I'll wear this and hold to my obligations as a Twitch partner. So
there you go. That's right. Obligations. Twitch partner. I can't wait to get into your first TwitchCon where he wasn't embarrassed to wear a TwitchCon badge for the first time. So that should be really exciting. But you, speaking of Twitch partner, you're going to be back live Wednesday night at
tonight
6.
Yes.
6 p.m. Eastern time. So, doing his whole recap and rehash of everything going on at TwitchCon, all the news and notes from TwitchCon, and anything else. Are you doing anything else tonight, or is it just pretty much that?
It's that, and also raising money for Starlight Children's Foundation in the middle of the Cancer Awareness Month, or Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So have a goal, and we're actually like a third of the way there, even though we haven't properly started yet. So tonight is the proper start. So that's going to be in addition to talking about all things TwitchCon.
Yeah, that's right. Starlight, newest ambassador, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, one of the newest in the class. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
They are lucky to have you, frankly.
They were like very excited to see me at TwitchCon. I'm like, I haven't really done anything yet, but okay, cool.
People like you. You're a friendly face.
I guess they do. They do.
And the thing is, you and a lot of us, for that matter, even without an ambassadorship, like, we've been raising money for Starlight. So it's like they recognize that, they recognize who has been out there giving up their time and supporting their cause in their communities. And so it's, I mean, they're going to be excited to see you because you're one of those people out there doing it. But speaking of TwitchCon, oh, good golly, Miss Molly, we've got a lot to talk about for TwitchCon, ladies and gentlemen. Headed back to San Diego now for a 5-year deal. Is that right?
I don't know.
They finally decided that. I think very strategically. I feel like they were in contract. I don't have all the details, but they were in contract negotiations with San Diego to get it back in 2023, and they hit a stalemate. So boom, we're going to go to Las Vegas, and they're going to show just how much money they could give Las Vegas instead of San Diego. And then San Diego went, "Oh, sorry, our bad," and then decided to sign a multi-year deal with Twitch and San Diego to bring it back. I have not been to a TwitchCon in San Diego. Why is it so much better in San Diego? What is it like? I just keep hearing that. Like, what is about it? What about San Diego makes it so much better than Vegas?
So when you have it in Vegas, you are mixing all of the TwitchCon people with the general degenerates of Las Vegas. And I wish I could put it any other way, but that's really it.
How much more degenerate can people? I mean, TwitchCon folks are pretty.
I know they're pretty bad, but
right.
Vegas people are even worse, dude. There are people who go to Vegas and their lives fall apart in like 26 hours. Like, at least with Twitch people, it takes like a couple years to see the rise and fall, right? You kind of see it play out and you get to watch it live. But in Vegas, people fall apart much more quickly and privately.
Okay.
Secondly, everything in Las Vegas is very spread out where, you want to go to a particular restaurant or hotel to hang out. You are getting on a shuttle. You're getting on that monorail that I think they're getting rid of, a bunch of other stuff. When TwitchCon San Diego is done, basically the entire downtown area is like on one side of the convention center. So you're flooding the Gaslamp district, and basically everything that San Diego has to offer is all this way. So you're directly funneling people within walking distance to all of these places. So it's not uncommon, actually, with what happened with Nick, where he was talking to like 5 different people, like, "Oh, I'm here. So he was just bouncing from place to place, just trying to meet people. And in Vegas, you just can't do that.
It is a lot more space. And you would think, Vegas with the strip and everything, you'd be like, oh, that's walkable. People walk that all the time.
No,
but it's so much further away from the convention hall than.
Dude, if you want to walk from one hotel to the other, it could be a 10-minute walk just for one.
Sure.
So no.
And that's not the case here. Okay. Does the layout of the convention hall, is that any better than Vegas, or is it worse, or is it the same? Is it comparable? What do you? I definitely saw the ambiance looked a lot different, where it looked brighter than the Vegas area that we had last year.
Yeah. So the actual floor space for the con, where this is where San Diego Comic-Con is held, which I feel like gets lost on people, right? And that's like maybe the biggest convention in the world. So you have a convention center that is rectangular instead of being at that weird angle that kind of Vegas was when you're looking down the hallway. Not only that, but there's the Artist Alley area, which was I thought it was like double, triple in size, but also is held up in that. I think they call it the Sails, but it's that very bright, almost outdoor area where you can appreciate everybody's artwork, and there's like actual sunlight coming through and a breeze. So you feel a lot more open, and that just does not exist in Vegas, where, as you know, they don't put windows in any of the buildings because they don't want you knowing what time of day it is outside so you can spend more money. So that kind of resonated with the convention center. Here, I agree, brighter, more open, and appropriate for the crowd that they bring in.
So for some of us that don't know, get into the overall history with the brick building community and Twitch, because it's been a while. It's been for a while now that Lego, the brick builders of Lego the brick builders of Twitch have had a presence at Twitch, kind of by Twitch's design here, saying we really want to engage with you guys, have installations and things. So what's been that? Because you've been a part of a lot of them. So what's that history like?
I've been thankful to be part of a lot of them, and this is very uncommon in the convention scene. I've never seen anything really like it besides a situation at TwitchCon where there's a community or a couple people from that community that have been taken and given an opportunity to showcase just what we do, and to do that over the course of 5 years all around the world is very unique. So basically it was, I want to say Nick, for the most part, developed a connection with somebody at Twitch that was basically like, hey, here's a community that is doing a cool thing that should get a little bit more attention. And I like Lego, but we can't use the Lego name because Lego is very, as we know, very particular about how they operate their brand and what they allow. So you can't call it the Lego booth, but you have this brick building community. So basically the booth is there. In contrast to everything else that TwitchCon can be, it is a specifically manned table / area that is meant to engage the public of TwitchCon in something that is free, in something that is not trying to sell you something. We're not trying to, get whatever. Whereas with State Farm, you're inadvertently advertising insurance and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is specifically here to showcase what the community is about and just get personal time. And this was a big theme, and I'll talk about this more on my my live stream tonight in my general TwitchCon thoughts. But like, it is so difficult to find people in these within this massive crowd of like 30,000 people, finding pockets of people that are cool and interesting without it being like, what can you do for me, networky kind of thing, which I hate. I absolutely despise. And the brick building table allows people to come up and say, oh, Legos, those are cool. I'm going to build with them and take a little bit of time out of my very busy convention to make something for myself and put it up as part of the community effort. So I think that is very, very valued by Twitch and is very undervalued by everybody that is not doing something like that. And I think other shows could take pride in that. I know like Brick World does a lot like that with like mosaics and stuff. And it kind of seems appropriate, like a no-brainer for a show like that. Obviously it's Lego, you want to build with Lego, but all these other places that are not focused at all on Lego or brick building, whatever you want to deem it, it's just a very nice value add. And people there's no negative experience at this booth. Everybody walks away with a smile on their face, and you can't really put a price on that when you're a mega corporation like Twitch.
So the brick building, the Lego community, the brick building community has grown and grown and grown, especially over the last 5 years, right? On Twitch. Do you foresee a day where the company, the Lego group decides, or Twitch engages with them and says, hey, we've been doing this, but on a much smaller scale. We've had the Twitch brick building community kind of running it, kind of thing. Do you foresee a time where they engage and connect with Lego so it is a big lit Lego display sign where Lego can still come in and use, and engage with somebody like Nick, a freaking Lego master, right? And not necessarily change what's been laid, but expand upon it. Now we've got Lego Fortnite, so they can engage with, that we could have a section of an area that is dedicated to Lego Fortnite and playing the games and stuff like that. Where they can potentially sell, like have an area of that booth dedicated to some sales or things like, and really kind of blow it. Do you feel like we're headed in that direction, that Lego could potentially come in here and kind of blow this thing up and make it even bigger?
Not okay. In terms of having a booth presence with the big lit Lego sign like you see at San Diego Comic-Con, no. And I can give you an answer offline as to why, an example why. And when it comes to something that is more curated, ergo Twitch Rivals, where only professionals are involved, people that Twitch and who the powers that be feel are comfortable being on camera and representing Twitch and Lego and the vibe. And if you get Nick up there, if you get me up there, if you get whoever up there who knows what they're doing, not going to say something stupid and has a track record, yes, I think you could see something like that. but leaving it out to the whims of the public, especially of TwitchCon, I would almost say never. But again, I'll tell you kind of
Well,
why.
and again, I'm curious to hear those explanations, and it's more of my just curiosity, because we are seeing things, especially going into 2025 now, with partnerships with Nike, with partnerships like F1 that we're going to talk about later, where they are specifically, and obviously their history with San Diego Comic-Con, where they are engaging in these installations at events, right, and making sure they're bringing the brick building experience to these things to help promote that. And then when you specifically have a Lego master directly tied to Twitch and the history, behind, that person helping, spearhead a brick building community on that platform and things.
Zach, there's over 30 Lego Masters and even more worldwide. Okay,
I get it. I totally understand, but I'm just saying there have been some high profile Lego ambassadors and people and whatnot that have been on the platform from time to time that have been doing this. And, it's just, I don't know. It's just, again, just my curiosity more than anything. But let's talk specifically about this year's installation. You guys change it up pretty much every year. What was this year? What was the focus this year on the interactivity booth?
This year was having a blacklit graffiti wall using all different plates and tiles and bricks, so that way you could add it to the overall community. You could do any lettering or images you wanted to, as long as they were TOS, which we did not get many phallic symbols throughout the weekend, which is great. Did get a couple, but whatever. That kind of happens in general. So it was something different where, normally it's a very brightly lit space. But obviously having the darkness of the State Farm booth overshadowing us was kind of a benefit in that way of like, hey, we can actually illuminate the bricks and whatever. The thing that stunk, the positive this year was that we were on the main convention floor down in the lobby, just like in Vegas, but that's kind of, that was just one floor. Whereas this year we were on the main floor. So we were next to State Farm, the LAN area, AFK area, whatever. So we were amongst the big guns, right? But we were also not located on a proper aisle. So you really had to kind of go out of your way to go and see what was at the booth. So was that our fault? No. Were we set up for success in that way? No. But it was absolutely noted and will be changed for next year. There was just other stuff crowding us, and people still found it. People were at the booth, and it was deemed a success by all parties involved. But there's more we can do to kind of get it out in the middle there. So yeah,
I last year, my first year being exposed to it, the thing that just caught me was just how much, like, it was just a constant flow of traffic around the booth last year. I didn't see a ton of pictures coming out of TwitchCon this year, but the ones I saw looked like another steady flow of traffic around the booth.
It was a steady flow of traffic. It was people wandering around, and they were like, "Oh, what's this thing?" And then I'll describe it, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." And then they'll either do it or not. So
yeah, and that's because people are a little hesitant, because you do a lot of those booths can end up being those advertising booths. You point out like Chevron or whatever, like, and you're a little hesitant to like walk up to and into, because you're just preparing to be sold on something. And I feel like that's the thing that needs to be translated better from Twitch's standpoint about what's going on at that booth, is that they're not there to sell you anything. They're there just to let you have a fun time, let you be a part of the experience, let you put your own creative and personal touch on something there that you can be proud of, or step outside of your comfort zone a little bit. I know last year I brought a few people over to the booth that had never touched, Lego bricks before, and asked them to like be creative with something, with a big handful of, plastic blocks, right? And it was fun to sit there and kind of give them a little encouragement and watch them then take that encouragement and excel and do something really, 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 really neat. And that was I loved the flat art style that you guys were doing, this year, and the idea that it was blacklit and the graffiti wall kind of stuff. It looked really, really, really neat. Who comes up with those? Is that a collaboration between like Nick and Graham and Twitch, or does Twitch come up and say, we want you to do something like this? Like, how do those conversations go?
It's generally Nick who comes up with a premise, and maybe he'll run it by me, maybe he won't. Maybe he'll run it by Graham, maybe he won't. But mostly, it'll be a conversation had with Twitch, and for the most part, they're like, yeah, that's fine. Do whatever you want. There's a lot of creative freedom there. Well, the first TwitchCon I ever went to was in Amsterdam, and that was where the giant Twitch logo was built. So I think from a cool factor perspective, that was like the biggest impact. Well, and I'll talk about this with Nick at a later time, but like I think it's cool having like one big build and everybody helps with other stuff, because when you walk over, it's like, oh, here's this crazy cool thing that I can at least have to look at for eye candy, and then you can contribute to it as well. So I think Twitch generally tries to aim for that. It would have been tough for us to do something like that this year with the way things were laid out, but
sure.
Yeah.
The Vegas strip last year was dope. Like, I loved that idea, and I loved the big Vegas sign kind of as the central point of all that. Like, it was just
that was like a no-brainer.
Yeah. It kind of applied itself to all that. Now, big news coming out of TwitchCon for the brick building community was we started hearing rumblings about this long-standing need for a brick building, or do we call it Lego, or what do we call it, category, because historically the Twitch streamers in those communities have a hard time deciding where the heck they want to stream. So when you go to a live stream on Twitch, you pick the category that you want to stream from, and they have some pretty generic just chatting categories. They have a makers and crafting category. They have an art category. So then it becomes what do you pick when you're a brick building person? What do you pick? When you go to stream from Twitch. And we've talked about this topic before, and it definitely, kind of got people's tendrils flickering a little bit. But, it's something where we've had a few people that have been longstanding members of this kind of community on Twitch that have been spearheading trying to get a specific category from us to stream from. And the idea behind that category was we weren't sure where to go. We weren't sure what category to stream from if we were streaming Lego on Twitch. And at the time, there were not searchable tags on Twitch. So it was much harder to find what you were looking for on Twitch. Right? Where now you Google search, just like YouTube, you Google search a tag and boom, you find a whatever, right? You find the thing you're looking for, or a list of things you're looking for, where that wasn't the case when we started pushing the idea of having a, community. Now you look at things like the makers and crafting community, which is kind of this hodgepodge of a melting pot of a category, right? You can go into makers and crafting and you can find woodworking, you can find cross stitching, you can find other types of needlepoint, you can find animation, drawing, you can find brick building, Lego stuff, you can find you even find people in there doing artworks, model making, you can find sculpting, right? But now you have this offshoot of that category, and it's just art. Yet a lot of times you could say a sculpture is also art. You can classify a lot of things. So now all of a sudden we've got like two categories that are kind of similar, right? Because a lot of what happens in the makers and crafting category could also be applied to art. So now you have a category. Now you have this push for a brick building / Lego category that would then remove a chunk out of those viewers out of makers and crafting and put them in their own category. One of the beauties of Twitch is the ability to raid and bring your communities to go see other people. One of the benefits of the makers and crafting category has been historically is this melting pot style. So if somebody's already in the category that they're streaming from, that's where they tend to look when they go to try to find someone to raid. When you're in a melting pot category like that, you tend to see this plethora of different types of things that are going on. And you've seen streamers look at these categories and say, oh, you know, even though I was doing sculpting today, look at this Lego set. This Rivendell set looks dope. Why don't we go raid them? My hesitancy has been, if we remove that chunk of people out of that category and go put them over in their own separate silo, the person doing sculpting is going to have a really difficult time finding that person building that Lego set. And so all of a sudden, cross-pollination of communities stops. That's the danger, okay? Now, I've heard a lot of great ideas on this where subcategories would be huge, right? You have a main category, you have a makers and crafter category, and in that you have subcategories, art, Lego, whatever. So even though you go look or subscribe, which is really cool because you can follow that specific category, which is kind of nice, and that pops up in your feed, then in that main kind of melting pot category, you can just see all of the channels. But if you want to like drill down into what you're looking for, you could kind of select subcategories kind of thing. Great. But we also have searchable tags, which helps us find, if you're just looking for something specific, Lego. Now you're going to find a lot of Lego Fortniters right now. It's going to happen. You're going to find people that keep Lego in their tag, even though they did it once, right? But they're playing Minecraft today, but they left it in their tag, so they forgot to. You're going to find some of those. You're going to have to still kind of filter it. Now we're hearing rumblings that Twitch is ready to offer up this particular specific Lego / brick building category for the brick builders of Twitch. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I just wonder if you start streaming from it, is your growth potentially going to stop because you're only going to be working inside that one category that people are going to find you from. That being said, how does Twitch specifically, or the people in the community, maximize discoverability with their own category? How does that work?
That's a loaded question, dude. Like,
it's a lot.
Can I specifically recount my engagement with how this news came about before I go into that?
Please.
So I was at the booth, the brick build booth, the Lego booth, standing there. And then a particular creator known as Amish Ace wanders down and he says, they're going to be making a Lego category. And I'm like, what? Go check my Twitter. It's already over there. And so he says he heard from a staff member that there was going to be a community added when he was claiming his gift in the partner lounge, which happens to be a visor and sunglasses. Like I'm a 50-year-old man, but that's beside the point.
Go well with the current hat, by the way.
He said that there was going to be a category. And I said, Brett, you're full of, give me the tone. Give me the tone. There we go. So you're full of, there it is. Yes. So I said that. And I'm like, let me go up for myself. So I went up to the partner lounge because I'm now privileged. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate y'all. And I went up there, claimed my gift, and the gentleman who was at the desk was like, "Hey, do you know Amish Ace?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do. I do." And then he shows
his
the
response
1x8.
Was, yeah.
He shows the 1x8 brick that Ace was giving out to a bunch of people as like his business card. I'm like, "Oh, he gave you one? Okay, cool." And the staff member says, "Yeah, we're adding a Legos and brick building category on Twitch in a couple weeks," is what I was told. That was from a staff member whose name I could not recall, even if you paid me $1 million for. But somebody who told me that was also a thing. Now, Has that been happening for a couple of years? Is there any truth to it? Is there technicalities and legalities that can come in the way? Of course. So that is how I found out about it specifically. I know nothing more than that. Honest truth, 100%. How do you grow on Twitch if there is only a Lego category in general, right? My favorite aspect of doing stand-up builders and being on Twitch and all of this which separates it from a YouTube or a TikTok is that there's collaboration and community in places you least expect it, and not even for the sake of growth as a channel, as a brand, as a whatever. That is your growth as a human being when you get the opportunity to meet new and interesting and engaging people. Perfect example of this was me this weekend. I met Quiltoni in real life, who is a makers and crafter herself, and she had a booth up there, and we talked shop for a little bit, but also was able to talk about, like, you know, there's all these people here. How do we find the good people and have these different pockets within these 30,000 people, and, like, you know, be the change you want to see by greeting people. You know, this is I'll get into all this tonight, but I would have never met this person without being part of this greater makers and crafting community. And that's where all of us can shine, when we meet people that are outside of our bubble, our core friend group, our family, whatever. Expand that worldview and just become more well-rounded. So that's what I'm worried about, that there's going to be like, hey, you know, I'm only going to watch Lego people, where, like you said, there are the creators that do one Lego stream and then leave it, and you won't necessarily find them in that same way. And I think we have a lot more in common with the crafters and the artists and the whoever than I think we give ourselves credit for, because Lego is inherently a creative medium. As much as it is a very overpriced toy for kids, it is still a creative medium. So I don't want to lose that. And in terms of how you grow with just being in a Lego category, are there people going specifically to Twitch for Lego content? I think there are, but not nearly enough to kind of drive everything forward in the way I think we're thinking. A lot of people looking for Lego reviews or tips and tricks and stuff. Searchable content, which we all know is the YouTube, the Google, the TikTok, but not necessarily the Twitch. You're there on Twitch to engage with the people whose content you enjoy, whose personality and perspective you enjoy, and alongside other people in that community. I don't think you're going there for specifically one. You want kind of the whatever they have to offer on any given day. Mm-hmm. So that's how I feel about it. I mean,
and I know it's a touchy subject with folks, because it is because you do fight so long and hard to get a category, to be recognized. It's about being recognized. It's about community recognition, right? And at the time when the fight was started for it, we didn't have some of the
Twitch was in a very different place as well.
Twitch was a very different place, and that's the thing, is I feel like, from my perspective, my opinion is that it's not as needed as it once was. And I wonder if it's almost, if you take the, you know, the anytime, you know, you could look at something and you've got, let's say you've got 10 streamers streaming Lego, and you've got anywhere between 5 to 80 people watching per stream, right? And you take that audience out of that melting pot of a category and you put them in their own, then all of a sudden the 3D printer that's in makers and crafting that is also maybe a Lego fan, and they're looking for somebody to print, maybe they don't have any 3D printers they like that night, they will have to completely leave the category that they're in and go start searching other categories. And that can sometimes be a problem. I think you need to be a little careful what you wish for here at this point, because I feel like people are inherently lazy. And if I'm in the makers and crafting category and I'm looking for somebody to raid by the end of the night when I'm done with my stream. By that point, especially, the streamer is done. They are tired. They've been there for 4 to 8 hours potentially, right? They're done. They're tired. They went, and a lot of them will just go to whoever they're already following, that follow list, their friends list, whatever, right? But in the event that you get that one person that is looking for somebody new, they're going to search the category that they are currently streaming in first. And if they weren't already in Lego, that streamer with, that was doing body painting or whatever, and the person that comes to mind is Andy Ray Cosplay, right? She rarely ever does Lego. Huge supporter of the community. And if she's looking for somebody new to raid, she's looking in makers and crafting, and she's looking maybe in art if she's in the art category. She's looking whatever category she's streaming in currently. And she's bringing about 100 people with her per raid.
Hold on. Yeah, you know what this feels like? This feels like people within the United States trying to form a new state. We're like, well, there's only 13 colonies. We could be the 14th.
Right.
Now there's enough people in this area. I feel like we're diplomats on in a courthouse. We're like, we're writing the declaration, like, well, why don't we just merge the Dakotas? Why don't we just merge them? Carolinas.
Let me point out another something else, because we've got again, this is a particular point of conversation. This is a topic that a lot of people have a lot of opinions on, and I'm one of them, right? Does it bring validation to the hobby? Yes, like I said, it validates the community. There's a lot of hobbies on Twitch. So, there's keyboard makers. There's Gundam. There's Gunpla creators. There's other model kit. There's sculpting. Like, are we going to subcategorize all of that?
There's a comment that Amor is making here, and I agree. It brings legitimacy to the community.
Sure.
If they call it Legos and brick building, does that bring legitimacy to it? If they try to skirt around it being called Lego because Lego does not approve of Twitch using the name, does that bring the legitimacy that we're looking for to it? Or are we looking for a category that says Lego with, you know what I mean?
This all goes back to my original point that I want everybody out in our current audience to remember, and anybody watching or listening to this later, is how do we maximize discoverability of a new category? That's my point. Okay. Yes, somebody might come in and build Lego for the first time on Twitch. They're not going to know, if they haven't spent time already on the platform doing that particular hobby, that category exists if it's not advertised. So it's how do you advertise it? How does Twitch? The best thing that can happen is if they create a new category, is Twitch gets behind it on their social media and promotes the heck out of it. Will they do that? I don't know.
You have a long laundry list of demands, my friend. I feel like
it's not demands. It's these. I'm raising legitimate concerns here that, if you're going to segment out a community, number one, where does that? I honestly still believe that the subcategory thing is the way to go for all of this.
Please, can we please get 8 of us on a live stream with powdered wigs and debate this, please?
Please, I would love that.
We do all stream together. We combine the chats. It would be chaos. Please. I would love this. I would love this so much. I would love this so much. Oh man.
It would,
we got to do it. We'll talk.
Yeah, I think that would be lovely to do.
Do it for charity. I mean, I'm fundraising for Starlight. Let's do it. Here we go.
Because like I said, there's a lot of people. Make the category, stream from it for everyone. At least you're giving them options, right? But I'm just saying, that's what I've just been saying from the very beginning, is just be careful what you wish for. I don't know if you decide you're going to go stream from that category, if you're going to have the same discoverability that you had from streaming from a melting pot like makers and crafting. That's all I'm saying. So just be careful what you wish for.
For Echo Bricks in the chat, really depends if it's a brick building category they make, or if it's 20 new categories they're going to make at the same time. They're not going to make just one category at the same time. It's going to be like, here's like 5 to 10
right
at a time.
We've got new whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just keep cannibalizing makers and craft. Because like I said, if you want to add legitimacy to a hobby, you can add legitimacy to keyboard creating. You can add legitimacy to model making or / gunplay. I mean, because even model making goes beyond just the Gundams that people build on. There's a lot of people doing that stuff. 3D printing. There's a lot more 3D printers on there currently streaming than Lego people. Like it. If you want to add legitimacy to, like, you can't use that as just the only excuse for it, because there's a lot. Again, at the time when this conversation started, Twitch was really different. But they have shown over the last 5 years that makers and crafting and art and whatnot and music and like these are different things now. Twitch can be utilized in a different media than what it was when it was just video games. So it's how much do you drill down, and is there a way to maximize that discoverability? That's all. That's the only thing. That's the only question I want playing in people's mind is, if you had your own, how do you maximize your own discoverability that way?
So I think we should put a pin in this conversation until we get Amor and Jake and maybe Wesley and whoever else on the live stream, on the stage with the powdered wigs, and we'll talk about it, because I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Who's going to be the overarching order person
Not
leading?
me. I want to fight.
I know. I want to fight. I want to fight. I don't want to be the sane voice in all of this.
It's just 8 people yelling at each other for 3 hours, 4 hours.
It'd be fantastic. You know who also likes to
Jake, I guess,
bicker and argue is sports fans about their sports team. And Lego has partnered up now with F1 to enter a new agreement.
That means it's time for a bathroom break, everybody. I'll be back.
Look at this guy. Lego and Formula One announced a multi-year partnership beginning in 2025 with new sets, paddock experiences, and more. And I don't know about you guys, but I sat there and I said, wait a minute, I thought we already had F1 sets. I thought that was already a thing. Well, yes and no. They are going to be taking that idea originally that they had with Formula One and expanding upon it to include now installations at very specific racing events and so on. Now, they've given us very, very, very little Lego, or very, very little information. Lego has given us very little information about what actually is going to be included. If you look at the press release, we know we're getting Duplo. Yay, Duplo. But what exactly does this mean? Which is left to a lot of speculation over what we could expect from an F1 or Formula One collection.
Oh, we're still talking about this?
Yeah, we're still talking about this. I actually think there's a lot of cool opportunities here. It's just logistically, how do they make it work? What does F1 control? And I don't know this. So I'm hoping that we have a lot of F1 fans in the brick building community, in our community here, in our audience. I'm hoping they can shed some light on this, because does F1 as a brand control the likenesses and usage of their drivers? Or do the drivers themselves represent their own brand? Do the teams that they're associated with represent their own brand? Meaning, are we going to actually be able to get all representation of all the teams across the sport? Or are they going to have to go and individually license these things with the individual teams? And what does that translate to? Are we going to be able to get cool, like, CMF series of driver? What I thought would be cool is a CMF line of not just the driver, but like a car, like a little micro build car to go with it, as opposed to just the minifig. Like, you got these, not a full on Speed Champion kind of thing, but like these collectible in a box, blind box kind of situation where you could go through and collect the driver and a car. I thought that would be kind of a neat way to circumvent just the typical, just minifig. Because, I mean, at that point, you're just getting a different torso with different printing on it for that particular team. And then obviously you've got multiple guys on multiple teams that you just maybe change out the head like they did with Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know. But what is it that they could even do with F1, with an F1 collection, that they haven't already been done, that hasn't already been done, that makes it different, that makes this big announcement worthy of a big announcement?
I think putting the faces to the cars. I think that'll be it. Like the likenesses, the people that are driving, you might get a bit more, officially, oh, it has this person on it, because I feel like a lot of people follow the F1 stories for the people that are in the cars, not just a brand. So it could be that. I'd like to see like a trophy. Give me something like, I don't know, like they're having this race coming up, and now we have this thing, and you can swap. I don't know. I don't know. I'm talking a thin air here.
Well, that's what's rough about this, especially this particular announcement. Is you and I don't follow the sport like what other people, follow it. I'm sitting here going, Formula One, why not IndyCar? Whatever. Obviously, much more worldwide audience with Formula One than IndyCar. I do see some, I look at and I can come up with some ideas, like I said, of things with potential micro builds of cars and the minifig to go with them. I just didn't know what the logistics were behind it. Historical type of sets, heritage type of sets, where you can, bring stuff from the past into it, where they don't have to necessarily worry about the particular licensing going on currently. They can go to, previous drivers and events and things like that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they can do. It's interesting that this is being released the same year that we're going to be getting. It's the year of racing in Lego. We're going to be getting this and Mario Kart at the same time, which is kind of fun. And maybe that's what this is. We had a year of space in 2024. Maybe we're going to get a year of racing in 2025. Maybe we're going to get a lot of racing sets and city lines and things like that, and friends lines and whatnot. Maybe all of a sudden racing just takes off in Lego form in 2025. I don't know. But if you're going to make a big announcement like this and put out a press release and whatnot, obviously the installation part of it is a big side set. It's just like Nike, right? Like, okay, they got to come up with other ways other than just a Lego shoe that, translates to this, right? And so they're going to be going to races and having, Lego booths set up and things like that to help. But I feel like they have other ideas already cooked to be doing this stuff starting in 2025, but obviously not on your radar. They would have to do something pretty big for me to like get into the sport and kind of whatever. I could see this potentially bringing, people into the sport and saying, oh, I want to check out and figure out who this person is and why people care about this particular set or whatever. There's been F1 sets, even on the Technic side, that have come out in 2024 where I looked at and I went, this set looks lovely. I want this. It's not high on my list of needing to go out and buy right away, but it has popped up on my radar and said, I would really like this set because it does look nice. It does look cool and whatnot. But F1 coming 2025. I guess you F1 fans, I'm sorry for your pocketbooks. It sucks. Sucks for you. Sucks for you. Now you deal with what Star Wars fans deal with on a yearly basis. Okay, get ready because it's not stopping here in the beginnings of October, with Jabba's sail barge finally being officially announced, the worst kept secret in Lego this year. And the UCS Jabba sail barge coming in at 3,942 pieces with 11 minifigs and a price the size of a hut. Oh my God. $500 for this set, Mr. Bricks O'Brien. And it does translate into, when you actually hold the set, you get near the set, it does translate to something a lot bigger than it looks. I feel like it even in pictures. It does look large in pictures, but when you actually see it, hold it, touch it, whatever, it is much bigger than you originally thought it would be. But at $500, come on. Even with the Star Wars tax associated with it, this is a little much. It's a little much. Comparable sets, Rivendell, $500. Rivendell, Mr. Bricks O'Brien. I mean, how many figs did Rivendell have? Had 15 figures. So 4 more figures in Rivendell, right? Than this at 6,167 pieces. So 3,942, 11 figures, 6,167 pieces, 15 figures, same price. Licensed IP. Explain this to me.
I don't know.
Justify this price.
Man. Hey, man. You know, man, I just work here, man. I don't know, man. Hey, man. I see a lot of brown. I see a lot of gray. I see a lot of beige. So you can't even point to the color of the parts. You can't point to the larger molds of the parts. This might be something that Star Wars has on like a pricing strategy where they're like, hey, we have the cost of this being offset by another thing and blah, blah, blah. So maybe the sale barge has gotten the brunt of it. Maybe it's due to the volume of the box and needing to ship that out longer, like distances and warehousing. And I don't know. I don't even think you can call it Disney tax because Disney tax
Avengers Tower.
Avengers Tower. And it is a monolith of a Lego set. And this, and it really is painful because I have a nostalgia spot for the sail barge. I got the one that came out in I think 2006, 7, 8, where it was the sail barge with the skiff with the Sarlacc pit from my mom, and I'm like, oh man, this is like a complete playset. You have all three of these things. You can recreate literally the entire scene from Return of the Jedi in one Lego set, and that is very uncommon actually in Lego Star Wars in general. And now, they had it re-released in 2013. Same thing. They split up the barge and the skiff. I think if they had the entire play set, even though it's a UCS set, if they had the entire play set in here at $4.99, you have all the minifigures. You have the entire complete scene, Sarlacc pit, skiff, minifigures, barge, and all. People would be a lot more forgiving on this. Why they decided to split the two, I don't know. What I wholeheartedly expect at this time next year, going into Black Friday, you will see the exact same thing that you've seen with the Razor Crest and for the Hogwarts Express, where this is going to be the 30% off lightning deal on Prime Days or on Black Friday. I want this set. My wish list is giant, thick, and juicy already. This is nowhere near the top of my list at all. Even with a 30% off, man, to get both of them at the same time, man,
and they're getting us like they normally do. I feel like they know
they're getting you. Well, by the way,
but I also feel like they know that they're stretching us on that $500 price tag for what we're getting by not including this. You could still have included the skiff and the Sarlacc pit and those characters from that set in this set, right? And sold that skiff and Sarlacc set separately at $80 as well as a play set, because you did it with the Cantina set. You had a play set Cantina, and then you had your big honking Cantina that basically had everything that little set also included. It was the same.
And it's essentially a play set. The UCS set is a play set.
It is, which is fine. It's a Razor Crest, whatever. It's the Cantina. Like I kind of expected this set to be the Cantina, the floating Cantina, of Star Wars when it came out. But I did expect them to include, I even said it on this show, I was kind of shocked when I didn't see it. I expected them to add that skiff and that Sarlacc pit and have those exact same characters in here. And then the fact that they didn't add the C-3PO that we've gotten now in two sets with the accurate dual molded leg, where we have the silver leg on one side and I don't get that. You already have it in production. It's already available. The fact that they didn't include it in this is an odd choice. And I know a lot of people are saying, but
the C-3PO?
The C-3PO. Yeah,
it's in here.
No. He doesn't have his silver leg that he's got in the Landspeeder set. And he doesn't have it in, because that was the big deal when they came out in the Landspeeder set, was finally we got an accurate C-3PO. And then they also included him in the buildable C-3PO figure. So it's been in production for two sets, currently still on the line in one, and they didn't include it in this. That doesn't. I want like people in chatter say, make it make sense. Here, I don't understand what they're doing with this.
The other thing I want to point out too that I witnessed in Jang's overview of the set, when they are taking pictures of the set, especially in that undertow area, it's not going to look that bright. It's not going to be that displayable. So how are you going to properly display this thing as it's intended as a display piece at $500 as well? You're losing a bit of that cool factor by not being able to like look at it in really all of its glory. So
by design, the sail barge is a boring set. It just is. It's just, you can't get around it. We traded gray bricks for brown bricks, right? Some of the internals are neat, and the current land reviewers that have gotten their hands on it have been, they like them. They think they're great. But there are a lot of problems, and it really comes down to that price. And they're getting us with that gift with purchase, with that Luke's lightsaber. It's like they knew that we were going to be raising an eyebrow at this price, so they said, we're going to force you to do it by making you get it that first weekend before those gift with purchases sell out. It's a common thing. I don't understand it.
Y'all have fun spending your money. I'm good.
Yeah, well, I got to go sell a kidney before I can afford $500 on this set. The October sets don't stop, though, ladies and gentlemen. We finally got our first look at and official look at the big Santa, the big Christmas set of the year with Santa's Post Office. I love this set. I love this so much. And that balloon with the lit brick and everything going on, this is going to slide perfectly into my little Christmas village, and I can't wait. And it's so good. And just give me all the Christmas sets you can handle. I don't care if I've got 17 different Santa minifigs at this point. My God, it's fantastic. But they're also sliding in a companion set, the Santa's delivery truck, for a $20 purchase instead of a gift with purchase. And this goes back to that Luke's lightsaber, where people are like, well, just give me the Luke's lightsaber is available for $20. Let me just go buy that. And then I don't have to buy that Jabba's sail barge at $500. However, now we have a companion set that specifically goes with this, where you do have to spend extra money at $20 when it could have been just a gift with purchase. So which is it? Do we want the gift with purchase, or do we want to be able to buy these sets separately so we don't have to feel like we want to rush out and get it? You don't collect any of these Christmas sets. Or do
I have every single one ever made.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at you. I'm so proud of you.
Zach, I have all of them.
I'm so proud of you. So is this is this happening on day one, on October 3rd or whatever? Or are you waiting?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, like if there's anything that's a guarantee in life, death, taxes, and a Lego Christmas set like this every year. And I actually think this looks a little short. I wanted to see the building a little bit bigger, but they're afraid to go over that $100 price point. They're just not going to do it. I think anything higher than that, they're like, So that really limits it for what I want, which is a $200 proper Santa's workshop, like a big workshop with all the reindeer and the sleigh and whatever.
I want that workshop, but I want it like that Home Alone style, right? That dollhouse style. Open that sucker up in the front, see all the. Oh my God.
Yep.
Ooh,
so
I got chills thinking about it.
I think this looks a little small. I borderline would have wanted to see, and I think what would have sold a lot better. You put the truck in here and you put that hot air balloon at $20. I think that's what they should have done.
No, but I'm greedy. Give me both. Give me both.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get both anyways. But like, I think it's fine. I didn't look at this and I didn't immediately freak out. I've kind of felt this way about the winter sets for a hot minute. The last one that took my breath away was the gingerbread house. I think that was an unfathomable slam dunk.
100%.
Like 10 out of 10. Whatever. Everything since then, I'm like, yep, okay. And maybe it's because it's in an all black box and it looks too stale when I see it on a shelf. But like, I also love shout out to Lego for slapping that big, thick, juicy sticker on the front.
Oh God, yeah.
It's way more appealing on the shelf.
Which I don't keep that box anyway, but it does detract from the overall idea of this set. I honestly think the Santa delivery truck, I think you see that maybe in December, maybe Black Friday, whatever, as a VIP or insider points kind of redemption thing. They just recently did that with that Batman 8-in-1 brickhead, where you could get a whole Batman thing for Batman Day with, it's the same thing that they're selling for $20. So maybe look at that as a possibility down the road. No, don't know. Don't have any insider information on it.
$39.99, you get that as a free gift with purchase, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's only logical sense. I think they're just kind of throwing it out there as an extra add-on. Here's $20 if you need to get over a threshold for something. But realistically, this probably should have been some kind of gift with purchase. But it does, to people's point, like it allows us not to have to buy it or worry about buying it on day one, which is helpful because there's a lot of good stuff coming out on October 1st, and something's going to have to give. So right now, the Job of Sale bar is at that $500 with that exclusive gift with purchase that's going to sell out in that first week because people are going to resell that lightsaber for about $250. Going to be gone.
You know they're going to come out with a set for Black Friday because they have the past couple years. So what's that going to be?
Oh, that's X-Men Mansion.
Well, don't forget about that.
Yeah, that's X-Men. That they're saving that. They haven't announced it. They haven't talked about it. That's Black Friday. That's what that is.
I rewatched First Class on the flight back from San Diego. That's a very good movie.
First Class is great.
That's a very good movie.
For Matthew Vaughn nailed First Class. Those everything that up until the Days of Future Past was like that.
Oh yeah,
those were fantastic. Everything after Days of Future trash. Forget it.
I don't know what happened. What happened?
Matthew Vaughn stopped being majorly involved, and Fox got involved again. They were rushing it out, trying to keep that license. This was before they sold, and they were trying to keep it valued and whatnot. And they were trying to get even the makeup. Like if you go back and you look at Jennifer Lawrence's makeup as Mystique from what you saw in First Class to the last movie she was in, it's night and day. Like the amount, because it was like prosthetics and cool and, had texture to it. And then it looks like face painting in the last movie. Like it's that much of a, look it up. It's that much of a drastic difference. It's so bad. And it's just because of the lack of caring of getting those projects out. Mr. Bricks O'Brien, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you. Welcome back. I thank you for everything that you contribute, and thank you all for being here as well. We are live every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, and we try to keep it strict to an hour. So don't miss out. Don't get here late. You got to get here early. Got to get here early, and hang out with us. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all the YouTubey things, and don't forget to find us over on the podcast platforms as well. Mr. Bricks O'Brien, kids can find you everywhere on the internet at Bricks O'Brien.
That's true.
That's true. And you can find me everywhere on the internet at Zach M. Rutledge. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. And we will see you guys next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Bye.